You're going to sing a sacred sound today, and when you do, something inside you will awaken. This isn't a mystical promise. It's pure vibration. The sound you're about to hear didn't come from any book. It was used by initiates thousands of years ago because it activates an exact point in your energy field. And when that point vibrates, everything changes. The mind quiets, the heart warms, and reality begins to reorganize. It's not about believing, it's about feeling what this sound does to you in the first few seconds. But pay attention. If you leave before the end, you'll miss the exact moment when this vibration enters your field and starts working. And believe me, you only need to hear this once. Just one transmission, one sound, and the rest is your vibration taking control of your reality. So take a deep breath now, because what's about to be revealed here will vibrate within you for a long time. You grew up hearing that you need to search, to strive, to chase after what you want. Your whole life, you were taught to believe that the more effort you make, the closer you get to what you're seeking. But there's a level of reality where things don't work like that. Because in this field, it's not you who finds the answers. It's the frequency that finds you. It's strange, I know. It sounds like the opposite of what everyone's always said. But there are moments when something shifts silently in your energy field, and certain information that once felt unreachable suddenly appears. It wasn't hidden in the world. It was waiting for you to vibrate at the right tone, and when that tone is reached, everything reorganizes. Thoth called this the point of vibrational remembrance. It's when your vibration reaches such a specific level that non-rational memories begin to emerge. They're not memories of facts. They're memories of being, memories of what your soul has always known but had been asleep. And that's why this video showed up for you now. It's not the algorithm. It's not luck. It's vibration. Your frequency reached the minimum threshold to access this layer of information. It's as if you typed in an energetic password without even realizing it. The most curious part? You didn't choose this with your mind. This process happens before logic. You didn't think your way here. You felt your way here, because this kind of content only shows up when the field is ready. Not because it's secret, but because it's sensitive. And it can't be handed over just any way to just anyone, because its vibration reorganizes deep layers of the being. When you come into contact with this information, something begins to move inside you. But it's not about believing or understanding. It's about letting the body recognize what the mind doesn't yet have words for, and that is powerful. Maybe you'll feel a strange sensation in your stomach, or a light pressure in your chest, or an unexplainable urge to keep watching even if you don't know why. These are signs that your field is already in the process of adjustment. But be warned, this kind of frequency doesn't respond to superficial curiosity. It only responds to vibrational sincerity. If you're here just with your mind, it'll feel strange, disconnected. But if you're here with your body, your heart, your soul, then everything starts to make sense. This isn't the kind of knowledge you find just anywhere, because it isn't anywhere. It's encoded in vibration, and vibration manifests when you stop forcing. You don't access this by trying to understand it. You access it by allowing yourself to feel. The mind wants to search. The heart simply recognizes. And it's in that recognition that true knowledge happens. You didn't get here because you forced the door open. You got here because your vibration touched the field. And when that happens, certain pieces of information that were asleep in the collective begin to emerge, as if they were just waiting for someone to tune in to the right channel, and that channel is you. But now, a new challenge presents itself, because it's not enough to access this frequency. You have to sustain it, and that's exactly where most people get stuck. It's in that exact instant, subtle and almost imperceptible, that a silent error slips into the field. It doesn't come in screaming. It doesn't announce its arrival with noise or drama. It settles like a timid breeze, like an underground current that seems harmless at first glance. But that, over time, begins to erode the foundation of even the most solid spiritual practice. And the most dangerous part is that it doesn't act from the outside in. It acts from the inside out, like an emotional vibrational virus. You might be following every spiritual instruction perfectly. You might be meditating every morning, reciting mantras with discipline, writing affirmations on your mirror, lighting incense, fasting, cleansing your crystals. On the outside, everything looks right. But inside, something doesn't fit. Because this error doesn't sabotage directly. It sabotages through dissolution. It acts like lukewarm water flowing through the cracks of an energy structure not yet consolidated. And little by little, everything fades. You feel like you're evolving, but you keep ending up right back where you started. You dedicate yourself. You feel the vibration rise for a while, and out of nowhere, everything crumbles again. The peace that felt anchored dissolves. The confidence evaporates. Clarity turns to fog, and then the frustration sets in. But I did everything right. Why does it feel like it didn't work? The answer isn't on the surface. It's in the hidden layer of the field, in the real emotion that supports the practice. Because the practice alone doesn't sustain anything. It's just the container. What truly sustains the frequency is the silent emotional content vibrating behind the practice. It doesn't matter if you say, "I am light," if, deep down, you feel broken inside. What the universe hears isn't the phrase. It's the emotional vibration echoing between one word and another. It's what you feel while you speak what you believe. That's why so many powerful affirmations seem ineffective. You can repeat, "I'm abundance," 1,000 times a day. But if, when you say it, your body contracts, your stomach tightens, your breath shortens, that's what the field picks up on. The field doesn't respond to surface-level intention. It responds to vibrational coherence between what is said, what is felt, and what is sustained in the body. And the trickiest part? This isn't visible to the mind. It's a pre-verbal language. It's unrecognized micro-emotions. Old guilt disguised as courage, repressed fear under the mask of positivity, anger that was never welcomed, dressed up as forced gratitude. It's like trying to plant seeds in soil that looks fertile, but deep down is still hardened by the pain you refuse to feel. And then, even if the phrase is beautiful, the vibration doesn't take root. That's the real blind spot of the spiritual journey. The illusion of evolving, when in fact, you're just memorizing phrases, feeding more control, getting further away from feeling. That's why so many advanced spiritual people still suffer in silence. Because if the real emotion isn't acknowledged, the field doesn't restructure. You don't vibrate what you say. You vibrate what you feel at the exact moment you say it. That difference changes everything. It doesn't help to say, "I forgive," if your breath still trembles. It's no use saying, "I am peace," with tense shoulders, clenched jaw, tight chest. The body doesn't lie. And the field doesn't negotiate with incoherence. It's like trying to tune an instrument while it's being played. You need to stop, listen, adjust. Only then can you play again. And that's when the sound changes. That's why, before any technique, any mantra, or sacred word, there's something more important. The pause. The moment of silence where you listen to your own field. The point where you feel the emotion before trying to reprogram it. The breath before the speech. The touch before the sound. That's where the real frequency is born, and that frequency is built in an internal space that almost no one visits. The gap between what you want to feel and what you're actually feeling. That's the gap we're going to access now. Because before vibrating a new reality, you have to inhabit the now with total vibrational honesty. And that starts with a gesture, a small internal adjustment that completely shifts the field before a single word is spoken. But what almost no one notices is that most people fail at the most subtle point. They rush to the technique, the affirmation, the sound. They think the power is in the mantra, the sequence, the perfectly pronounced mystical word, but they forget the essential, the vibrational preparation of the instrument. Because before the sound comes the field, before the word comes the silence, before the chant comes the awakened body tuned to truth. It's like trying to play a symphony on an out-of-tune instrument. You can follow all the notes, respect the sheet music perfectly, even be moved by the intensity, but still, the sound comes out distorted, misaligned. Not because you did it wrong, but because the instrument wasn't ready to vibrate at that frequency. And on the spiritual path, that instrument is you. Your body is the first temple. Your breath is the first verb. Your inner touch is the first call. Vibration doesn't start when you speak. It starts much earlier. It starts the moment you choose to be present. And that moment needs to be cultivated. There is a micro-adjustment, a simple sequence, almost imperceptible to the rushed mind, but deeply felt by the subtle consciousness. That's where the silent practice becomes powerful. You sit, let go of the weight on your shoulders, connect your feet to the ground, align your spine like a vertical channel between heaven and earth, and you breathe. But not just any way. You inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, feeling the air touch the inner part of your nostrils, gently moving down into your abdomen. No rush, no control, just like you're inviting the breath of life in. Then you hold it, briefly, feeling time pause for a moment inside your body, and exhale through your mouth, softly, as if releasing old memories, stored tension, voices that no longer belong to you. In that moment, with your eyes still closed, you bring 2 fingers to the center of your chest, and you touch. A light, circular, silent touch. But this gesture carries more than physical contact. It's a vibrational reminder, a seal of presence, a call back to your core. It's like saying, I'm here, ready to vibrate the truth. That point in the center of your chest is where the essence of being pulses. It's the throne of coherence between what is felt, what is lived, and what is expressed. And by touching it with awareness, something awakens. You start to hear the vibration before the word. Before you sing, you feel. Before you emit, you align. And here's the secret that the ancient initiates knew. Feeling before speaking is the true beginning of vibrational magic. It's not about thinking or repeating. It's about allowing. You allow the vibration to come from within as a response from your inner field, not as a forced mental command. And in that instant, everything changes. You realize there's a soft, almost shy vibration rising from the center of your chest. It's not an emotion, it's not an idea, it's a calling. It's like your essence saying, now I'm ready. That conscious touch activates a subtle field of coherence, and that coherence generates a vibration that comes before any sound. It doesn't need words to exist. It's already happening. And this is the most overlooked point in modern spiritual practices. Without this initial adjustment, any technique becomes repetition, any affirmation becomes noise. But when you align the body, quiet the mind, and touch the true vibration before speaking, your frequency reorganizes, your presence changes, the field responds, and then, when you finally speak, the word won't just be sound, it will be living force. Speech becomes healing, the verb becomes a bridge, the vibration becomes a mirror where the universe recognizes itself in you. And that's where the next question arises. How do you sustain that living frequency? How do you keep that vibration stable if your body is still misaligned in its fundamental centers? The answer lies in 3 specific points in your body. 3 sacred centers that need to be activated together. And almost no one has taught you how to align them. And this is where everything begins to align, like pieces of a great vibrational code hidden in plain sight all along. Because no matter how much you breathe with awareness, focus on the present moment, or even chant the sound with devotion, if the energetic foundation supporting that emission isn't intact, the whole field becomes unstable. And the sound, instead of creating, dissipates. Thoth spoke clearly. The sacred sound is not a one-dimensional event. It isn't limited to the throat, to the air that vibrates, or to mental intention. True sound is 3-dimensional. It is born from the convergence of 3 power centers that, when aligned, form a direct bridge between the self and the source. This is not a symbolic concept. It's ancient vibrational technology. 3 points, 3 centers, 3 pillars. The first is the navel. More precisely, the energy center known as the lower dantian, or hara, the internal furnace. This is where raw vital energy rests, a primordial energy, still formless, but full of creative power. All manifestation begins here. It is the point where intention gains weight, where the spark of the verb is conceived. It represents the base, the root, the first impulse of sound before it becomes sound. And without it, any emission loses structure. It's like trying to build a temple with no foundation. The second point is the heart, and we're not talking about the physical organ, but the vibrational center that acts as a purity filter. It doesn't emit brute force, but vibrational quality. If the navel pushes the sound with power, the heart is what colors it with truth. This is where the emotional vibration of the being lives. When this center is active, the sound gains depth, soul, emotional resonance. It's where energy stops being just force and becomes presence. And the third center is the throat, not as an isolated point, but as a passageway. The throat is the channel of transmutation, the place where the invisible becomes sound, where everything that was conceived in the hara and refined in the heart is transformed into verb, word, audible sound. But there is a secret here that few understand. The throat is conditional. It creates nothing on its own. It only reveals, it only releases what already exists as coherent vibration in the centers below. When these 3 points are connected, something extraordinary happens. The entire body becomes a single channel of emission. There is no more separation between what you feel, what you create, and what you express. Navel, heart, and throat align like a living spiral that runs through your being, from bottom to top, emitting such coherent vibration that the surrounding field responds instantly. Thoth called this the triple pillar of the living word, and it's not optional. If you activate only one of the centers, the sound comes out fragmented. If 2 centers work, there is vibration, but without full impact. Only when all 3 operate together does the chant become a real vibrational command, capable of altering patterns, dissolving noise, and opening portals of true resonance. And this is the part almost no one talks about, because many speak only with the throat, and their words sound hollow. Others feel deeply with the heart, but can't express what they feel. And there are those who activate the creative impulse of the navel, but don't refine it with the truth of the heart. The result? Distorted frequency, disconnected communication, intention without effect. But when you sing with your whole body, when the sound is born from the hara, rises through the heart, and emerges through the throat as a unified breath, The field around you enters active listening. Reality responds. The vibrational web recognizes you, and there's no more separation between sound, body, and consciousness. That's why the preparation for the chant doesn't start with the voice. It starts with the silent activation of these three centers. And this activation is what you're about to do now. Not with sound, but with presence, a silent ritual, a deep listening, an inner touch that lights the triad, because only those who light all three centers can truly be heard by the field. The preparation has been done. The centers have been acknowledged. Now, what comes next doesn't require force. It requires surrender, because before any sacred sound is emitted, something has to happen within. It's not something you see. It's not something you hear with your ears. It's something you feel as an inner whisper, a vibrating silence, as if your entire body withdraws for a moment just to listen to what has always been there, waiting to be heard. This is the moment of the silent ritual, and contrary to what many think, silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of listening. It's when you step away from the world's noise and into the listening of your own frequency. This silence is active. It pulses. And within it, the real alignment happens. You sit comfortably, with your spine upright, but not rigid. Your eyes can be closed or gently open, as if ready to see something beyond sight. Then, the breath begins. But not just any breath. It's a triangular breath. You inhale counting to 4, hold the air for another 4, and exhale also for 4 counts. This cadence creates a structure in the field. It's like drawing an invisible triangle between the centers of your body. And this triangle is the key. With each breath cycle, your attention moves. On the inhale, your attention goes to the navel. On the hold, it rises to the heart. On the exhale, it lifts to the throat. Then the cycle begins again. You don't force it. You observe. The attention is gentle but steady. It doesn't press the centers. It acknowledges them. And as you do this, something begins to take shape in the inner space. A silent geometry. A triangle of light begins to form with your intention. In the center of your chest, you visualize this light pulsing, not as a still image, but as a living vibration, expanding and contracting like a cosmic heart within you. This triangle pulses in rhythm with your breath. It's not just visual, it vibrates. And by holding this state for a few minutes, you notice something rare. The body aligns, the mind slows down, emotion stabilizes, and the three centers become a single instrument. It's like you become a human tuning fork. Every cell begins to vibrate in unison, preparing the field to receive something greater. The sound hasn't come yet, but everything is already being tuned for it. This is the true beginning. Not in the sound, but in the silence that comes before. Because when that inner triangle vibrates in coherence, what comes out of your mouth is not just sound, it's code. And that's why the ancients kept this ritual secret, because they knew that without this silent alignment, the sacred sound would be just an empty echo. But when done with truth, with presence, with surrender, the sound reorganizes everything inside you. Now, the question arises like a call. What is this sound? What is the vibration that Thoth revealed, and that touches parts of you that you didn't even know existed? And then, at the peak of silence, it emerges, not as an external sound, but as a memory rising from within, a vibration that seems to recognize you before it's even spoken. This is the sound. But it's not just any sound. It's a vibrational key, polished over centuries, passed on in secret among those who vowed to protect it. Because it doesn't belong to ordinary vocabulary. It's not meant for conversation. It's meant for awakening. Thoth taught it with precision, not for its meaning, but for its vibrational impact. It was the sound that reorganized the centers, that activated the soul's hidden field, and that echoed through the invisible structure of reality. This sound crossed civilizations. It was sung in temples hidden beneath stone, whispered in deserts, guarded by lineages that don't appear in books. And now it has returned. Not because someone brought it, but because your frequency reached the exact point where it could be recognized. This sound is Hara, 2 syllables, simple, but charged with vibrational power. Ha is the primordial breath. It's the beginning, the activation, the air that becomes energy. When pronounced with presence, it ignites the navel and releases stagnant life force. Ra is the solar spark. It's the vibration that moves from the center outward. It's the pulse of manifested creation. It touches the heart and passes through the throat like a living current. Together, they form a code that doesn't depend on belief, language, or culture. It depends on only one condition: being spoken with a living body, with aligned emotion, with pure intention, because it's not about singing beautifully. It's about vibrating fully. It's about making every cell take part in the sound, not like a choir, but like a unified feel. That's why this sound can't be taught like a song. It must be felt before it is expressed. That's why many have heard it, but few have activated it. Because real activation doesn't come from copying the sound, but from allowing it to move through you like a wave that finds its exact point of resonance. Now, you've heard it, but you haven't spoken it yet. And that makes all the difference, because when you vocalize it the way it was taught in hidden temples, the field changes, the body reacts, and the vibration that was asleep begins to expand. In the next part, you're not just going to listen, you're going to sing. You'll pronounce this sound with an awakened body. And when that happens, something that has been silent inside you for a long time will no longer be able to stay quiet. This is the moment that isn't watched. It can't be understood with rational thought. It's a moment that can only be entered with your whole body present, with your heart awake, your soul open, and silence as your guide. Because here, the practice stops being an idea and becomes embodied vibration. But attention, chanting the sound. Hara is not a performance. It's not to impress. It's not to seem mystical, enlightened, or special. It's to disappear, to empty yourself completely, and let the sound do what it needs to do. Chanting Hara is an act of surrender, of offering, of communion. There is no right or wrong, only presence, only listening, only vibration. Sit the way a sacred temple rests upon the earth, grounded, but without tension. The spine should be alert like a vertical channel, the top of the head soft like an open flower. The feet touching the ground like subtle roots that breathe. The hands rest naturally on the knees or together at the center of the chest, like a seal of inner silence. Now, close your eyes. Let the external world fade away without effort, and then begin the triangular breath. Inhale deeply, hold gently, exhale with awareness. Inhale, hold, exhale. Each cycle activates the vibrational triangle that exists between the navel, power center, the heart, connection center, and the throat, expression center. It's a living architecture, and this triangle needs to be awake so that the sound can move through you like a beam of clear light. But before vocalizing anything, listen. Listen as if something were whispering from deep within your center, as if the sound were already vibrating in you, just waiting for your yes, not with your physical ears, but with your whole field. Feel the calling rise, not from outside, but from your own silence. And when it comes, let the sound be born from the center of the navel, expand through the heart, move through the throat and rise through the head like a river of sound light, and then vocalize with full surrender. Ha, ra. No force, no rush, no mental interference, as if you were exhaling an ancient memory that's always been kept inside. The sound comes out, but it's not just air vibrating in the vocal cords. It's energy resonating through every layer of your being. You feel your spine activate. A subtle warmth spreads between the vertebrae, an expansion in the chest, as if something clicked into place, and right after the sound dissolves, a special silence descends, a full silence, a silence that pulses. In that instant, something inside you knows, this is not just a sound, it's a password, it's a vibrational code, it's an energetic command that tells the universal web that you've returned to your center, and the web responds. But that response won't come through words or visible signs. It comes as an internal reorganization, as a field that closes around you to keep you whole. It's in that moment that many make a mistake without realizing it. They feel the power of the sound, but they don't seal the circuit. They don't close the spiral. And without the final seal, the energy dissipates. It does its work for a moment, but then fades away. It's like lighting incense and leaving it in the wind all night. It releases fragrance, but goes out quickly. That's why Thoth taught that every code needs a vibrational closing, a synthesis word, a sound that seals, anchors, structures, and sustains what was activated. This sound doesn't come first. It can only be revealed after the field is fully coherent, and you've come this far by vibrational merit. You aligned the centers, you prepared the field, you listened, you chanted, and now only one step remains, a forgotten sound that completes Thoth's energetic circuit. A sound that, when chanted the right way, not only anchors the frequency, but begins to restructure your field permanently. And that's what will happen in the next part. The vibration expanded. The sound crossed dimensions. For a few seconds, it felt like everything was suspended, like time had stopped, like the world listened along with you. But it's exactly in that moment of fullness that many consciousnesses get lost. Not from a lack of sensitivity, but from a lack of structure. They feel the field open, but don't know how to keep it open. They feel the heartbeat stronger, but don't know how to protect that beat from the shock of the outside world. It's like someone discovering fire for the first time and leaving it exposed to the wind, because the hard part isn't lighting it, it's keeping it lit. And this is where the forgotten part comes in, the vibrational seal. Most chant with devotion, feel something deep, a warmth in the chest, a lightness in the mind, a real connection. But soon after, they go back to the noise, back to distractions, back to old layers of doubt, fear, and reactivity. Not because they don't believe what they experienced, but because they didn't know how to anchor the experience. Every vibration needs rooting. Without roots, the field dissipates. Without a seal, the frequency fades. That's why, after the sacred chant of Hara, when the field is still vibrating and the soul is present, something essential must happen, the conscious sealing of the energy. In this moment, you remain silent, but it's no longer the empty silence from the beginning. It's a charged silence, alive, full of the vibration you just activated. The eyes are closed, the mind is calm, the body receptive. And then, from the center of the chest, you speak a phrase, not with your mouth, but with your awareness. 3 times. With reverence, with presence, with truth. I am the vibration that emanates from the 0 point. I am the vibration that emanates from the 0 point. I am the vibration that emanates from the 0 point. This is not mechanical repetition. It's a vibrational declaration. It's as if you were sealing, with your own essence, the new frequency that was awakened. This phrase doesn't come from the mind. It comes from the point of origin, from the internal space, where everything is pure, untouched by time or ego, from the 0 point. That point isn't physical. It's not somewhere in your body. It's a field, a state, an origin frequency. And when you declare that you are the vibration that emanates from this point, you are telling life that you don't just want to touch that state. You want to live in it. You want to sustain it. You want to integrate it as your new vibrational pattern. And the effect of that is real. Something starts to organize internally. The vibration doesn't just stay, it begins to structure itself. It descends from experience into the emotional body. It starts to redesign how you feel, how you think, how you act. It's as if the field has grown roots inside you, and that grounding is what separates a deep experience from a fading memory. But here also begins the real test, because sealing the vibration is easy in silence. What's hard is sustaining it when the chaos begins. When the world starts yelling again, when the notifications don't stop, when reactive people provoke you, when pain shows up disguised as routine. It's at that point that many lose the frequency, not because it wasn't activated, but because they didn't know how to protect it. They didn't learn how to create an internal space where it could stay alive, even when everything out there is in disorder. And it's exactly here that the most important question of the journey arises. How do you sustain that vibration, even when reality keeps trying to pull you back? How do you stay in the 0 point when the whole world seems out of balance? That answer isn't out there, and that's what you're about to access now. You sealed the vibration. You felt the expanded field. But now, life goes on. The traffic doesn't go away, and the demands don't stop. Old emotions try to return, and this is where everything is defined. Because vibrating high is not about hiding from the world, it's about staying whole within it. True high frequency is not an ecstatic state, far from reality. It's steady presence in the middle of the storm. It's silent alignment even when everything around is screaming. Above all, it is coherence. Coherence with what you activated, with what you felt, with what you chose to sustain. Thoth said the most powerful vibration is the one that remains in silence when chaos tries to make noise. And for that, there are 4 fundamental pillars. Radical presence, to be here, fully. Not just with the body, but with attention. To feel the breath, the heartbeat, the space between thoughts. Without judgment, without resistance. Because only in the now can the field stay active. The past distorts. The future fragments. The present anchors. Conscious speech. Every time you speak, you emit a vibration, not just with sound, but with the intention it carries. Speaking without awareness breaks the field. Speaking with truth strengthens it. Every phrase you say should be a reflection of the vibration you want to sustain. Creative silence. You don't need to make sound all the time. Silence, when conscious, is one of the most powerful forms of vibrational maintenance. It's in silence that energy organizes. It's where vibration settles into the body, integrates into the system, and roots into the field. Contact with nature. This is the simplest and most direct form of vibrational reset. Trees, running water, earth, are natural portals of resonance. When your frequency starts to waver, all it takes is a true connection with nature for realignment to happen, effortlessly, without ritual, just presence. These 4 pillars work as invisible supports. They don't make noise. They don't require beliefs. They just ask for consistency. And if you apply only this, you'll already feel the difference. The vibration will last longer. Returning to frequency will be easier. The body will begin to recognize this state as natural. But even among those who practice all this with dedication, there's still an unrevealed secret. A fifth pillar. Almost no one talks about it because it's not a behavior, it's a shift in perception. It was taught by Thoth in hidden passages, passed only to a few initiates. And it deeply alters how you relate to time, the body, and what's real. Thoth said true frequency does not operate inside linear time. It needs a different vibrational space. Sacred sound does not vibrate in the past, nor in the future. It only happens outside the count, in the space where the now becomes absolute. And this is where the fifth pillar appears. This pillar is not practiced like the others. It doesn't involve behavior or external routine. It depends on a shift in perception. You have to leave the prison of time and enter the windows of the eternal present. These windows are what the ancients called vibrational intervals, short but deep moments where time seems to stop. But it's not the outside world that slows down. It's you who steps out of the fast flow and into a field where everything is now. You've probably felt this, a sudden silence between two thoughts, a pause between one breath and the next, a moment when time seems suspended, even if just for 2 or 3 seconds. That's exactly where the fifth pillar lives. It's in these invisible spaces that your vibration reconnects. Because there, nothing pressures you. There, the mind doesn't project. There, the body doesn't react. There, everything just is. And what Thoth taught is that you can create these spaces consciously, throughout the day, between tasks, words, breaths. You can enter this sacred time. Just stop, breathe, close your eyes, drop your shoulders, feel the now as if it were eternal. These pauses don't need to last long, but they need to be complete. 3 seconds of total presence are worth more than an hour of disconnected practice. You start creating small windows of eternity within the routine of time. And every time you do this, something inside you reorganizes. As if the field returns to 0 point, these moments not only sustain the activated vibration, they enhance it. Because in the time of now, vibration doesn't have to face resistance. It simply spreads. It fills the field. It becomes you, and something even more powerful happens. If you vocalize the sacred sound within one of these windows, the effect is not the same. It's not just deeper. It's as if the sound gains another dimension, as if it touches not just the body, but the space around it. And this is what we'll reveal next. And when you chant the sound within one of these vibrational windows, with the centers activated, the breath aligned, and the field in silence, something truly begins to happen, but not in the spectacular way the mind expects. There are no lights, explosions, or dramatic manifestations, no voices from the sky or mystical visions taking over your body. What is revealed is more discreet, more subtle, and infinitely more powerful. It's as if a presence begins to vibrate around you, but not an external presence. It's the field, the real field, the one that responds, that hears, that mirrors. You start to notice micro adjustments happening in the invisible. People around you, who seemed emotionally closed off, begin to listen to you differently. Eyes change, expressions soften. Spaces that once felt closed begin to open with unexplainable gentleness. Conversations flow effortlessly. Decisions that felt stuck come naturally. Situations that dragged on for months begin to resolve like dominoes falling into place. It's not coincidence, and it's definitely not imagination. It's pure vibrational response. It's as if you had touched a silent string and the universe was echoing back, in a melody that can only be heard by those who've learned to sing with the soul. Because this sound, when spoken with truth, with coherent intention, with living breath and emotion in the right place, doesn't stop at you. It reverberates, it passes through you, and after it passes through, it expands. It crosses space, it touches frequencies, it unlocks paths that were sealed not because of lack of worth, but due to vibrational mismatch. And when that mismatch disappears, reality responds as if it had been waiting for that signal all along. This movement cannot be manipulated. It cannot be forced, because it is born from coherence, from the purity of your vibration, not the expectation of your mind. You are not asking, you are not begging, you are becoming a new center of emission, a new nucleus, a new point of origin. It's as if the field around you starts to reorganize around a new gravitational center, you, or rather, the you that emits the original sound from the 0 point. And the most beautiful part is that this requires no effort. This new vibration doesn't need to be held up by your willpower. It sustains itself because it is rooted in truth, in stillness, in the inner sound you released, and now keeps vibrating even in silence. And it's at this point that silent magic begins. The things you needed to make work simply align. The people you wanted to convince simply feel. The places where you felt out of place now welcome you. But even with all of that happening, it's still only the surface. Because the real power of Thoth's chant is not in the sound you made. It's in the one you no longer need to make. It's in the sound that vibrates even when your lips are closed, in the frequency that keeps speaking to the field, even after you've gone silent. And it's exactly at this next stage that everything is revealed, the moment when you stop producing sound and become the silence that holds it. This is the final stage, and it's here that the truth of who you are begins to emerge for the first time. And it's exactly here that everything truly begins to change, because after so many stages, conscious breathing, aligned centers, the sound spoken with intention, and the field activated, something unexpected happens. You realize you no longer need to chant, not out of forgetfulness, not out of fatigue, but because the sound has disappeared, except it hasn't vanished. It has deepened. It has moved into a more internal, more subtle, more essential plane. Thoth called this transition point the dissolution of the wave, when the outer sound completes its function and transmutes into a state of being. It's as if the echo no longer depends on air to move and begins to vibrate directly in the field, invisible, uninterrupted, unmistakable. The chant now lives inside you, not as a memory, but as a pulse. You sit, not because you need to follow a protocol, but because your body naturally wants to be still. The breath slows, the shoulders relax. The eyes close, and in that exact moment, you realize the sound is still there, but it no longer needs your voice. It pulses in the center of your chest, vibrates in your abdomen, radiates through your forehead, and that silent vibration isn't confined to your body. It escapes through the edges of your field. It is felt by others, even without words. It is picked up by animals, plants, spaces. It changes the atmosphere of wherever you are. This is the inner chant. The moment when you didn't just emit a frequency, you became the frequency. And this isn't a metaphor, it's literal, vibrationally real. Your body now works as a living resonance chamber. Your field vibrates like a continuous tone, tuned to the point of origin. Nothing needs to be said, because your presence says it all, everything. Thoth said, when the sound dissolves into silence, it means it has returned to the house of the all, and the house of the all is the 0 point, the void that contains all possibilities, the original silence from which all vibrations emerge. This is where you begin to live in a new state, where seeking elevation is no longer necessary. Because you have become the elevation itself. You are no longer trying to hold a frequency. You are the sustained frequency, and everything around you begins to respond to that with a mysterious naturalness. People start behaving in more aligned ways. Paths that were once closed become viable. What was stuck flows. But not because you did something, but because you stopped interfering. You allowed the inner sound to take the lead. This state is more than a spiritual practice. It's an existential shift. The chant became field. The technique became essence. The effort became presence. And now, every step you take carries that emission. But don't confuse this point with the end. It's exactly here that the most reserved rite begins to approach. The true vibrational closure can't be performed by someone still trying to prove something. It only reveals itself to those who have already dissolved into silence. And that silence is the key to the final rite, the deepest stage of all, and it cannot be initiated by rush, expectation, or the desire to control. It only happens when the vibration becomes natural, when you vibrate effortlessly, without intention, without expecting anything in return. And when that happens, the rite reveals itself, and that is what will be revealed next. And it's exactly because you access this internal vibrational silence, pure, stable, self-sustaining, that now you are ready for the most subtle of all practices, but also the most revealing, the most intimate, the one that no longer depends on stimulation but on surrender, that doesn't need technique but presence. From this point forward, there is no more effort. Nothing needs to be achieved. You no longer need to seek the frequency, because now it is with you. And more than that, it is you. Sit calmly, with your spine upright but without tension. No tightness in your shoulders, face, or hands. Let everything go. No expectation should be carried. Just be here. The field has already been prepared. The vibration has already been activated. And now it's time to allow. Let your breath return to the triangular rhythm that guided you here. Inhale, hold, exhale, and repeat. Slowly, without forced control, let the body find its own rhythm, as if it were listening to itself breathe for the first time. And when the last echo of the silenced sound disperses in the inner space, the practice begins. Not with a gesture, not with a sound, but with silence. A silence that isn't absence, it is fullness. And it's within that silence that you'll notice something extraordinary. The field begins to move, to respond, to emit back what you emitted, but in a new way, transformed. This is the moment when the 0 point manifests, not as a concept, but as a living state within you. A center of vibrational intelligence that, once accessed, responds. But it only responds to those who have learned how to listen. Thoth used to say that at this stage, the initiate no longer speaks with words. They speak with vibration, and that's why now you're going to allow a question to rise. But pay attention. It doesn't come from the mind. It's not a thought. It forms in the field, as if sprouting from silence. The question is simple. What wants to emerge now? And when you ask this, you're not waiting for an answer in the usual way. You're not interrogating the universe. You're inviting. This question doesn't demand. It opens. It creates an internal space, and then it waits. It's in this space that the field begins to respond. Sometimes with a memory, other times with a sensation in the body, an emotion, a sudden vision, a word that comes out of nowhere, or simply a peace so deep that you feel something has been completed, even if you don't understand what. This isn't imagination. It's the field returning. It's the vibration echoing back into your center. And when that happens, you're no longer doing a practice. You're establishing a dialogue with the invisible, a dialogue that doesn't depend on language, or logic, or expectation. The 0 point becomes a quantum mirror, a portal where everything that is out of alignment shows itself clearly, but without judgment, without drama, without rejection. You simply see, and in seeing, you begin to integrate. Many, when they reach this point, report that old pains they thought were long gone re-emerge gently and dissolve. Others say that memories they carried with emotional weight suddenly feel neutral, as if they'd been heard for the first time. And that's exactly what's happening. Your soul no longer needs you to shout to be heard. It just needed you to listen. And now you are listening. In silence. In the absolute now. With no mental noise, no emotional filter, and it's in this state that the revelations begin to arrive, without effort, without control, without agenda, because here you've stopped resisting, and when resistance disappears, the field aligns. This is how ancient masters accessed forgotten wisdoms, deep healings, and decisions that changed everything. Not because they knew more, but because they vibrated in silence with the hidden center of being. Now, you've entered that center. And that has a consequence, because this space where you are is not just any energetic space. It's a hidden vibrational domain, accessed by only a few consciousnesses who manage to pass through the layers of doing and arrive at pure being. This field can't be forced. It only opens when it recognizes. And now, it has recognized you. And now that this field has recognized you, there's no turning back. Something has been triggered in your most subtle core, and this activation cannot be undone. Because what happened here wasn't just a vocal exercise or a sequence of sacred breaths. It was a crossing, a moment of reunion between you and the forgotten part of yourself, a vibrational trace that had been asleep, like a silent flame waiting for the breath of remembrance. You didn't perform a technique, you crossed a threshold. And in that crossing, something opened, a channel, a frequency. This frequency is not metaphorical. It pulses, it vibrates, it breathes in you. As if a second heart had awakened, not to pump blood, but to radiate essence, a hidden energy center that vibrates beneath the skin, beyond the mind, far beyond the identity you used to carry. You breathed, you chanted, you went silent, and you asked. But the answer that came didn't arrive in words or images. It didn't scream. It didn't explain. It didn't translate itself. It simply settled in as a state of being, a continuous field of vibrational coherence that now accompanies you effortlessly. And that's why, from this point on, you no longer need to try to vibrate high. That search has dissolved. Because you became the frequency. It lives in you like the air that goes in and out, like the sound that no longer needs to be spoken to be felt, like the presence that silently changes everything around you, and you'll notice. Almost imperceptibly, people start looking at you differently. They don't know what changed, but they feel it. Places that used to drain your energy now soften when you arrive. Conversations that used to be blocked flow with ease. Old impressions dissolve. Reality starts to give way, opening paths, as if something invisible were reorganizing everything based on what you are, not what you say or want, but what you vibrate, in silence. Not because you're trying to make it happen, but because you became it. Thoth's chant is no longer on your lips. It no longer needs sound. It's been converted into vibrational identity. And that identity begins to deprogram everything that's not coherent with it. Old habits lose power. Masks dissolve. Certain connections end without conflict. And whatever no longer resonates with your frequency simply doesn't stay. Not from judgment, but from natural dissonance. It's as if your soul, now visible to the field, were clearing the path ahead of you. And even if you want to explain this to someone, you'll realize the words won't reach. Because this isn't something to be understood. It's something to be lived. And this something now shows itself in everything. In your gaze, in your silence, in your step, in your touch. You emanate what you've always been seeking, not through effort, not through techniques, but through truth. Because you are no longer the same. And even if the outside world seems unchanged, it starts responding to your new frequency, as if it somehow recognizes that something sacred now moves with you. And the deepest part is that this vibration doesn't need to be used as power. It is a state, a presence, a truth that can no longer be undone. You now carry a sound that can't be heard with the ears, a sound that can't be seen, but that is felt by the soul. You are that sound. You are that field. And wherever you are, that vibration will be present, not as a spell, but as a testimony, as a seal, as a memory of the divine within you that has finally awakened. You're no longer practicing something. You've become what you were practicing. And now, even the universe begins to tune its melody to sing with you. If you've made it this far, you're already vibrating differently. So leave it in the comments. I'm the sound that transforms. This phrase isn't just a comment, it's a vibrational code that anchors everything you activated in this video. And I really want to read about your experience because each person feels this sound in their own unique way. And if you want to help the channel more directly, there's a way to contribute in the pinned comment to help spread more content like this out there. Your help makes this message vibrate even farther. Now, don't leave just yet. A special video was chosen to complete this vibrational journey. It's already showing up on the screen. Click to meet me there and go even deeper into the frequency you've just begun to awaken here.